Okay, so Jordana, I just wanted to ask you, what is it that drew you to Jivamukti, or what made you started wanting to teach the practice?
Well, first thing is I had amazing teachers. I had very, very good Jivamukti teachers, and a lot of what draws me to any practice or to any class is that quality of instruction. So it was clear to me that the Jivamukti training was a very thorough, very comprehensive training, because all the classes that I had taken with those teachers were very good. And I was really drawn to the practice because I came from a place of being socially conscious, of being an activist, and that's a big part of the Jivamukti practice. It's not just about us, and it's not just about us being on our mats. It's all about the bigger picture, or about using all these practices to open our awareness and open our consciousness and extend that consciousness into how we live and how we treat others. And that's so important to me, and I think that's really at the heart of what yoga is about.
That's great. Okay, so then within kind of that big umbrella term of yoga, what is it about Jivamukti that really separates itself from like the other practices? Or how is it kind of that the class flows differently, or all that stuff? How does it begin?
Well, Jivamukti, the word itself, is it's actually taken from the word Jivamukti, which means to be liberated while living. And that's the essence, that's the focus of Jivamukti. So basically, Jivamukti founders Sharon Gannon and David Life felt that in studying yoga and learning more about it, that the practices that were here in the West were really getting away from the goal of yoga, which is realizing liberation. And they wanted to bring it back to that. So it's very spiritually centered, and everything about it is geared towards our own liberation and achieving enlightenment. So it's very specific in that is the goal of the practice, and that's what they are centered on. And Jivamukti it's a vinyasa practice. It's definitely Ashtanga based. It's grown out of the Ashtanga tradition. Jivamukti founders Sharon and David have studied extensively in the Ashtanga tradition, so it's very similar in many ways. And there are certain points of a Jivamukti class, or the 14 points, things that you always do. So there are certain poses that you always do in a Jivamukti class. There's always a focus of the month that every Jivamukti teacher teaches during that month. And it's always centered around the practice and around the goal of achieving that state of yoga, and it's also around the study of scripture. So scriptures are a big part of the practice, and always tying the focus back to those ancient texts. Bhakti is a big part of Jivamukti, of cultivating that sense of devotion and connection to oneness and respect for all life. Also, nadam is sound. It's both in chanting and in listening to uplifting music throughout the class. That's a big part of it. Meditation you always do in Jivamukti class, and then ahimsa, that is another foundational practice of non-harming, which is essential to Jivamukta.
Cool.